Hey everyone, this is kerryk and I'm here to help people remember who they are. You're going to love this conversation because this is going to help you remember who you are. This is it, 21 days of conscious breathing. I've been speaking about bringing you this very, very powerful exercise, and here it finally is. So, what is conscious breath about? I learned conscious breath by accident. I was a really, really ill child. I was an asthmatic. And, when I say to people I spent half of my childhood in hospital, they think that that's an exaggeration or I'm making it up, but it really isn't. I would be home for 2 weeks, hospitalized for 2 weeks, home for 2, hospital for 2. So I really legitimately spent half of my life, childhood, in hospital. I was a severe asthmatic, often gasping for breath, often unable to speak because that was just way too much. I needed to breathe and I needed to work for every single breath that I was getting in. What that brought me, though, was a lot of practice in learning how to consciously connect to my breath and to consciously breathe. So I look back at that now, and yeah, it was a bit of a traumatic experience as a child, but I do look back at it with gratitude because I see what it brought me and I see what it prepared me for. Conscious breath is what you use to allow you to navigate your consciousness. This is it. This is what allows you to connect to yourself, to self-actualize, to self-realize, to step into your enlightenment, your embodiment, to come into presence. How many times do people say to me, oh, I can't stop my chatterbox brain, or I can't find an answer and I'm swimming around in my head? That stuff is the absolute antithesis of ascension. It's the opposite of where you need to be. An ascending human is a human who's learned mastery over their mind, is a human who's learned how to navigate the fields of consciousness as a living plane, a place where they experience themselves, life, the universe. Often people will say, I can't hear. They say, I can't hear God. I can't hear the universe. I can't hear my guides. I can't hear my messages. That's because they don't speak in words. So don't listen for words. But I am going to refer to it as we go through the 21 days of conscious breath, as we go through the practice. I'm going to refer to listen. Listen to the silence, which is a way of saying tune into the silence so that you can experience it more fully. There will be people who go through conflict with the brain. Here's my advice to you. If the brain is vying for your attention and it's being a chatterbox, it could happen on day 1 and it could happen on day 21. So it can happen at any time during your practice period. If you find yourself going to war with the brain and trying to shut the chatterbox brain up, don't. Because that's how you're going to perpetuate the misery. Don't try to keep it still. Don't try to keep it quiet. Instead, I want you to focus on your breath, because where you allow your focus to be is what you're going to amplify. So if you focus on the chatterbox brain, it's going to amplify. Eventually that chatterbox brain is going to keep chattering in the background, realizing and recognizing, no one's listening, and then eventually it gets quiet, because when nobody listens, you stop speaking. That's how you quieten the chatterbox brain. So I want you to remember that you're in charge. And when I say you, I'm not talking about your brain. I'm not talking about that chatter. That's not what's in charge. You being the one who makes conscious choice. You are the one that's in charge. So come with me as we journey into a space of exquisite expansion. This is where stuff may come up for you. You might find peace. You might find a trauma rising. You might find something that you suppressed just surfacing. But here's the beautiful thing, because I know a lot of you have just heard that and gone, oh no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. 21 days of conscious breath is where you allow yourself to go into the unknown, meaning it's where you go outside of the prescribed reality, also known as the matrix, and you allow yourself to experience life as it is. And when that happens, you create space. You create space inside of you. You create a connection between yourself and the universe. And when something needs to clear, when something needs to move away and out of you, it's going to come up into that space only to be released. So please don't think for a moment that when I said, oh, this could bring up trauma, that means you're going to become traumatized. No. Those of you who have embedded and dealt with trauma are traumatized, whether you deal with it or not. If it's beneath the surface, the trauma is there. If it's nowhere to be found because it has been dissolved into a higher frequency, then you've overcome trauma, and that's what conscious breath does. It creates the space for that alchemy to happen, for the density to dissolve into light, to evolve into light. So allow yourself to welcome the unknown, to welcome what rises, knowing that even when you don't understand it, it is leading you somewhere. Don't look for visuals, don't look for words, just be present. If words and visuals come up, you can let them go. Think of them like advertising in the mind. You don't have to pay any attention to it. If it's really important, it's going to come back. The primary point of focus for you is with the breath and with the experience. So you're tuning into a more subtle field. Now, some of you will have been here before. Some of you are practitioners of conscious breath. You're welcome. You're welcome to come here and deepen your practice, because, of course, where we are is a container in which healing happens, and amplification of your experience always occurs when you are in a container that is occupied by many. But wait a minute, if there are many people in this container, I know someone's going to ask this question, doesn't it mean that somebody might muddy the waters? Somebody might bring in their disillusionment or their distortions and, mess it up for everybody else. No. The container is a 12D shielded space. And what that means is anything that is out of alignment with the space just doesn't stick. It just instantly dissolves. It has nowhere to hook into. So ultimately, you have a clear, pure space in which to experience yourself. And that is what this is about. This is about you getting to experience yourself, getting to connect to yourself. Your breath is the passageway. That's what you're going to traverse to make this happen. So come with me. Come on, let's go together. Get some water. Please have water next to you. I'm busy looking around. Okay, I see my water. Bring yourself into a nice comfortable place, literally, physically. So I'm on my nice comfortable office chair. And you see me doing this. This is me getting ready. This is what I want you to do. I call it the wiggle. Those of you who meditate with me often, you're so well versed. You already started this, I know. Let me tell you what the wiggle is. The wiggle is where you literally wiggle into your body, into the chair, and I want you to move your body in whatever way it needs to move, knowing that every time you come back, it's going to be different. Sometimes your back might be really stiff, because I want you to get fluidity and I want you to get flow in your spinal column specifically. So check your neck, your upper spine, lower spine, middle spine, and just see where you need to move to create more fluidity and more flow. Some of you are going to have perfect fluidity in the spinal column, in which case create more. Some of you will have a back injury perhaps, or back ache even. Just do your best. Just do your best to create more flow than what you originally had. So take your time, get into your wiggle, get into your comfortable place, wherever that may be. If you fall asleep and you prefer not to, then it's a good idea to sit up. If you prefer to really get comfortable and relax into this and let this take you off into a sleep, you can do that too. Now, I know a lot of people are going to put meditation music in the background. I don't mind music in the background when I'm talking, but not when I'm meditating. Meditation really needs to be a container for silence. And even if there's noise outside right now, I know there's birds and there's a little bit of noise, a little bit of daylight chatter in the neighborhood, but that's okay. Even if there's noise outside right now, I know there's birds and there's a little bit of noise, a little bit of daylight chatter in the neighborhood, But that's okay. What you really are going to look for is your inner silence, it's your inner stillness. So even if outside of you, got noise going on, it's all outside of you. It's the inner stillness that you're going to be getting. This is not a place for your own judgment. If you don't find the silence that you're really after in this moment, you come back. You come back, you allow yourself to find the perfection in the imperfection. So I want you to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you breathe out, I want you to put a little bit of effort into the exhale. So it's like you're driving the exhale. You can even push that exhale with a little sigh. So you can vocalize on the exhale if you want to. So it's going to sound like on the exhale. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Just give yourself a couple of these now. And when you push out, when you exhale out, I want you to feel like you are drawing your stomach in. So you are sucking your stomach muscles in on the exhale. Try that. Try that so that you can feel what that feels like. You don't have to be a yogi and you don't have to do this perfectly. I just want you to experiment with that rhythm. That's all. So now's where it gets kind of delicious. You did a whole lot of pretty intense breathing. And now I want you to feel how everything just settles, how your breath settles into its own natural rhythm, how you settle into your body, and how you can feel the presence of your physical form as everything just settles and finds its place. And there is beautiful breath flowing through your body. And the whole way through, my voice and these words are going to be here to guide you. So you simply have to follow the words. If at any time you want to put my words in the background, you're welcome to do that. For whenever you need them, they're here. You can let them guide you. When you breathe, I want you to notice that you've got your own rhythm, or more accurately said, your breath has got its own rhythm. And you're here to bear witness to the rhythm of your breath, not to alter it, not to change it, just to bear witness to the natural flow of your breath. And every now and then you're going to want to take a deeper breath, but it's going to happen naturally. And then at times you may notice that your breath becomes a little bit shallow. It's fine. That is the ebb and the flow of your breath. And as you focus on the breath, I want you to become very present right now, because that's what the breath does. When you bring your focus to the breath, it brings you into the present. You're breathing and bringing yourself into presence as you breathe. And your focus becomes kind of like a laser beam as you bring your awareness into the exhalation and the inhalation. So you are being so present with your breath, with each little millisecond of that inhale, each moment of the exhale. You're there, you're present with your breath. And there's going to be a little moment, and maybe it's happened for you already, where you go, whoa, this is slow. Yeah, in just a while, you're going to love the slow. In just a while, you're going to appreciate the slow. But there is a transitional moment where you come from your frenetic life into this pace and you go, whoa, this is different, because it is. You're now beginning to enter the now. You're just beginning. Your breath will deliver you into the fullness of that splendid space called the now. And every time you're in it, it's like being in a field of infinite potential. It's being in a field of oneness and unification with all that is. Your awareness, however, only needs to be with your breath. Nothing else. Nothing else. Just that inhalation to exhalation. And I want you to notice how that breath is almost circular, because the inhale flows to the exhale flows to the inhale. That is a circular breath. Becoming aware also that this circular breath is one breath. This breath is one breath of many circles that came before it. In fact, at the moment of your birth, at the moment of your very, very first breath, you initiated a stream of consciousness. That same stream of consciousness, those circular breaths, are what you're finding yourself at now in presence. So from the first breath to this one is one long, continuous flow of consciousness. Ah. Aha. Yeah. It's okay if you don't find external stillness. I want you to find yours. I want you to find your stillness. It's there in those breaths. And you may have already felt it occur, but there's an expansion that occurs when you are here. Entering the now, there's an expansiveness that occurs, and it's as if you're creating space. It is space for you to expand into. And this is very meaningful. This is very profound. This is one of the gifts of the now. It is room to be. It is the room for you to be. This is you having consciously created space for yourself and occupying that space. So you're in presence right now. You're in presence and your breath is keeping you here. The flow of your breath and your awareness of the flow of your breath is all that you need. Every now and then, you're going to find yourself immersed in divine stillness. Again, in the divine stillness, expansion happens, and you expand into the divine stillness, and the divine stillness expands into you. At this point, I want you to listen to the silence. Even if it's not outside of you, I want you to listen to your own silence. And I want you to feel like that silence that you're breathing in right now, that silence is deafening. That silence is loud. As you breathe, bring your awareness to the breath, because I know many of you will have dropped the awareness of the breath by now, and that's fine, always fine. Just bring your awareness to your breath right now. And as you bring your awareness to your breath right now, I want you to know that what you're breathing in, imbued into that breath, is consciousness. Pure universal consciousness is flowing into and out of your breath. It is weaving itself into your breath so that what you're breathing is presence into the body. Divine presence. Beautiful flowing breath. Allowing for whatever surfaces into the space to simply move through, to just move through. And when it does, what remains in the space is the purity of it. The purity of the space is what has always been here as soon as everything else dissipates. And that is what your breath allows to happen. It allows for everything to discharge, for everything to dissipate, so that you're left with pure you, pure presence. And what you're feeling right now is also connection. It is connection to your breath, connection to the universal presence in your breath, connection to the universe itself in the now, where the two of you meet. And where you speak but not in words. Feel that interaction of the presence within you. That's your conscious breath. And you can come back here tomorrow, back to this conscious breathing. You can come back here, in fact, anytime you choose. I want you to take your time. Take your time. Press pause if you're going to stay here. You're welcome to. And if not, this is where you're going to bring yourself gently, slowly back into awakening. I want you to stretch into your body. So if you're opening your eyes right now, this is where you come out the same way you went in. You wiggle out, you wiggle back into your body. Feeling your spinal column flexible, flowing and moving. Move your neck if you need to. Do whatever you need to do to feel yourself physical, tangible, solid, having experienced cosmic divinity and having brought it into the body, into form. Lots of love, everyone. Speak to you really soon. Chat to you in the comments. Let me know how it goes. Bye for now.